It had not been long since the old bishop had died. He was a very, very powerful man. And perhaps the only thing that exceeded his power, his ability to keep his very discordant flock together, was the reverence his people had for him. But he was gone now. And in the weeks that followed his death, the appropriate period of his mourning, the church was breaking apart into two basic factions. It was reflective of the empire as a whole. The Arians, who held that Jesus was not truly divine, were very vocal and militant, and they had the backing of some very high people. Some said even the emperor's mother. The emperor himself claimed orthodoxy, and the Orthodox in that place were just as loud in their opposition to the Arians. And so when the time came to select a bishop, they fought, and it looked as though they would certainly come to real violence. The threat of rioting breaking out in Milan, the seat of imperial power, was very, very real. We can only imagine the tension that was growing on every corner of the city as every single person was asked to take a side, and the elders of that town were asked to come together and one last time try to select a bishop. And into their midst walked the representative of the emperor, a young man, the son himself of a Roman official, he himself a career politician. He walked in and with great eloquence addressed the assembled crowd, begging them to resolve their differences peacefully, reminding them again and again and again, whatever side they were on, both followed the teachings of this Jesus who preached peace and fraternity, care and forgiveness. Suddenly from the assembled crowd, the most astonishing cry came out, "Ambrose for bishop!" And it was taken up. Ambrose stopped in his speech and looked at them with absolutely a horrified expression on his face. "You can't be serious." "Ambrose for bishop," they said. "We want Ambrose. We've heard him. He would make the perfect bishop." Ambrose fled the assembly, as anyone in their right mind who was being made a bishop would do. He hid himself for a week, but the cries did not cease. But Ambrose said, "I'm not baptized. I'm a layperson. I can't be your bishop." But they wouldn't stop. The sensum fidelium, I guess, the sense of the faithful, was that in this man was the person that they needed. And so he assented. And in the course of a week, he, seeing the will of God and their claim, was baptized, confirmed, Eucharistized, ordained, and then made a bishop. A sacramental banner here for Ambrose and his family. And he proved to be one of the most powerful figures of the ancient church. One whom we remember even today. Staunch in his orthodoxy, he was also staunch in his willingness to protect the church from interference from the outside. When the mother of the empire, mother of the emperor, decided it was important to give the Arians a church of their own, a little bauble here and there, Ambrose would not give him one of their own Orthodox churches. Absolutely not. And when the emperor surrounded his basilica with troops, he and his congregation stood inside and said, "You're not taking this one either," until the emperor relented. And when the emperor, in a very foolish move, punished a city who had killed the provincial governor in a riot by killing 7,000 innocent people, Ambrose basically excommunicated him, refused to give him communion, and chastised him. "You're a holy man," he said. "Why do you abridge your holiness? Repent and come back to the flock that you belong in." The emperor did. As emperors go, he wasn't a bad man, Valentinian. But Ambrose said, "The emperor is in the church. not over it. He was a fierce proclaimer of Orthodox faith and the divinity of Christ. He was a man of music and learning. He was a very good choice. A very good choice. Today's his feast day. In addition to being Pearl Harbor Day, it's the feast of St. Ambrose and the second Sunday of Advent. Prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight his paths. Wonder what it means. Think for a moment, will you? How many people there are? Oh, let's just take a small place. Chesapeake. How many people there are in our city? A couple 100,000 in some. How many people are Catholic? A fraction of that. And how many of those Catholics today will come to church on the feast of St. Ambrose and pray and open their hearts and receive their Lord? And how many of them will come for 1,000 different reasons? Because their parents dragged them, because their spouse dragged them, because tradition dragged them, because they wanted to be here. For whatever reason, they still came. Think about it, because you're part of that number. You're part of a very small fraction, eh? A small fraction who are here today on this particular place to listen to this word and receive the sacrament. You, this people. Not filling the space completely, but almost. You are here because of whatever reason the Lord has called you. Prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight his paths. What does it mean? Well, I suppose what it means, in the end, is that you want him. Somehow, somewhere, there is a piece of your life that wants this God, that desires him. And preparing the way for him simply means making space for him, making time for him. It means that you are willing to clear out from one's life whatever it is that is in the way of him. It means that you look very clearly the life that you live and you say, he must be a part of it. It doesn't always happen the way we expect. Perhaps that's why St. Ambrose is such a magnificent feast day for the second Sunday of Advent. Ambrose walked into that assembly hall expecting to quell a riot and ended up a bishop. We walk into this place expecting to do our duty and end up saints. It's not a bad exchange, really. Preparing the way of the Lord means simply being willing to open up a space in our lives to cut down whatever it is that keeps us from finding the time, the space for that longing for this God, for this one who brings meaning, for this one who brings peace, for this one who brings mercy, for this one who brings forgiveness, for this one who brings our true identity to come to us and to be a part of us. To prepare the way of the Lord means announcing to ourselves, our own heart, and then to our world. Wherever our world may be, whatever corner of it we find ourselves to be in, to announce to that world that we are willing to create the space in the interruptions and the hassle for the grace that comes to it, regardless of the personalities we encounter, the God that in fact we all long for. You know, for ancient times, mountains were not what they are for us. We look at them in their magnificent beauty and they remind us of God. And the forests are outdoor cathedrals and all of nature is magnificently wonderful. And a reminder of the eternal gift of God, the Creator, that he gives to us in beauty. But not for them. Mountains were in the way of everything. Imagine walking on foot and having to get from here and there to there and having to go over the Rockies or the Appalachians to get there. Any mountain range was an obstacle. And when God says, I will lower the mountains, he's saying,